You ever feel like you're busy all the time, but your life still looks the same? Like no matter how much you grind, hustle, or try to stay active, you're not really moving forward? That's probably because you're focusing on things that look busy, not things that actually make an impact. Today, I want to walk you through 3 kinds of productivity that sound simple, but if you do them right, they can literally change the direction of your life. The crazy thing is, most people don't even realize how important these are. So let's break it down. Have you ever felt stuck, even though you've done everything right? You work hard, you follow advice, you even invest time in self-improvement, but somehow it feels like you're still trapped in the same spot. Sometimes the problem isn't effort, it's perspective. And one of the fastest ways to gain fresh perspective is by reading. Reading is like a shortcut to life. It lets you borrow someone else's brain and see the world from their point of view without having to experience the pain yourself. Imagine reading about someone who went bankrupt, failed repeatedly, got rejected, and still managed to rise again. You get to ride their emotional roller coaster without losing money, sanity, or years of your life. And it's not just about business or motivation. Books can give you insights on relationships, emotions, communication, spirituality, and more, all condensed into words that someone else worked hard to put together. Reading isn't just about collecting knowledge. It's about training your mind to think differently. Because let's be real, most of us don't actually lack information. What we really lack is a way of thinking that's clearer, deeper, and broader. Take Stoicism, for example. If you read Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus, you'll learn how to control your emotions, respond calmly to problems, and accept things beyond your control. That's way more powerful than scrolling TikTok for 3 hours hunting for random self-love quotes. Or think about reading Nelson Mandela's story, 27 years in prison, and still he preached forgiveness and reconciliation. That kind of story slaps you awake. Like, seriously, if he can let go of bitterness, why am I still overthinking for weeks just because my crush ignored my text? This is where reading transforms from entertainment into a mirror. It forces you to reflect and realize, I can be so much better than this. And no, you don't have to stick to thick books. Long articles, powerful threads, insightful newsletters, or even someone's personal journal can all count as reading. The point isn't length, it's whether it makes you think, reflect, and maybe even shift your perspective a little. But here's the catch. There are 2 kinds of readers. The ones who just skim, and the ones who absorb and process what they read. You want to be the second type, the kind of reader who lets the words live inside them. And don't just stick to stuff that agrees with your current beliefs. Sometimes you need to read things that challenge you, that make you uncomfortable, that clash with how you think. Read the biography of someone you dislike. Read opinions that contradict your ideology. It's not about agreeing with them, it's about understanding why they think the way they do. That's how you become less judgmental, more empathetic, more mature, and more prepared for the complexity of the world. At the end of the day, readers are like people with superpowers. They can see further into the future because they're standing on the shoulders of giants who came before them. So if your life feels blurry, narrow, or overwhelming, maybe the answer isn't to escape, complain, or shop your stress away. Maybe it's as simple as sitting down, opening a book, and letting someone else's words wake you up. Now let's talk about the second key, writing. You ever have your mind feel so crowded, like there's so much noise in your head, but when someone asks, "What's wrong?" you don't even know how to explain it? That's because our thoughts are messy, tangled, and loud. The only real way to untangle them is by writing. Writing isn't just for authors, bloggers, or content creators. Writing is for anyone who wants to understand themselves. Think about how many choices you've made in life without fully knowing why. Sometimes we're just on autopilot, reacting emotionally, following the flow, doing things because we feel pressured. Only later we ask, Why did I say that? Why did I choose that? Why do I feel so empty when everything looks fine on paper? Writing helps uncover those answers. When you sit down and pour your thoughts onto paper, you start to notice patterns. Oh, I'm actually insecure about this. Oh, this childhood wound is still haunting me. Oh, I'm exhausted. Not because of work, but because I haven't been honest with myself. These things only reveal themselves once you write them out. And no, writing isn't about perfect grammar or pretty sentences, it's about honesty. Raw honesty. Forget about structure, forget about what people might think. You're writing for yourself, not for applause. I can tell you from personal experience, some of my biggest breakthroughs in life came not from talking to others, but from writing to myself and being brutally honest on the page. Sometimes I realize, wow, I don't actually want this thing, I just don't want to lose validation. Or, I'm not angry because of what they did, I'm angry because I feel invisible. You don't catch insights like that just by thinking. Thinking is slippery. Writing forces distance. It lets you step back and look at your thoughts as a reader, not just a thinker. That's why journaling is so powerful. Journaling isn't just a Pinterest aesthetic, it's a practice of emotional awareness and self-discovery. You can start with simple prompts. What did I feel today? Why did I get upset earlier? Why have I been unmotivated lately? What am I actually searching for in life? You don't need to have perfect answers. Sometimes you'll write paragraphs before one single line hits you like a revelation. That one line can change everything. Writing also helps fight anxiety and overthinking. Most of our worries grow because they're stuck swirling endlessly in our heads. Once written down, they suddenly look smaller, clearer, and easier to handle. Beyond that, writing sharpens clarity. You learn to build arguments, recognize your values, and understand how your brain really works. And as a side effect, people who write often also speak better because their minds are more organized and their words come out smoother. Plus, if you stick with it, writing becomes a personal legacy. You'll be able to look back years later and see how much you've grown. Wow, I used to think that way and now I've evolved. That's growth you can literally hold in your hands. Writing isn't just productivity, it's personal honesty. It's slowing down, listening to your own heart, and giving it space to speak. And now, the third piece, speaking. Let's be honest, being smart isn't enough. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't communicate them clearly, nobody's going to care. Speaking is a skill that can literally change your life. Look around, so many successful people aren't the smartest in the room, but they're the ones who can talk in a way that makes people listen. They inspire trust, they deliver ideas with clarity, and most importantly, they create impact with their words. Meanwhile, a lot of us hold ourselves back by saying, I'm introverted. I'm not good at speaking. I go blank in front of people. But here's the truth. Speaking isn't a talent. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can train it. Speaking consciously means knowing your audience, knowing what message you want to deliver, and being aware of the effect of your words. Because let's face it, life isn't just about what you know, but about how well you can express what you know. Think about it. In an office, you might have two coworkers. One's diligent, detail-oriented, but quiet. The other's average, but great at presenting ideas. Who gets noticed by the boss? Usually the second one, because they can show their value. Or say you've got a brilliant startup idea, but if you can't pitch it convincingly, no investor will fund you. Words are bridges. Without strong bridges, your idea is drowned before reaching anyone. And speaking isn't just about content, it's about delivery. Your tone, your expression, your energy all matter. The exact same sentence can feel totally different depending on how you say it. Compare I'm sorry with fine sorry. The words are the same, but the feeling is a world apart. That's why practicing how you speak matters. Not just so people understand you, but so they feel you. Great speakers aren't just talkers, they're also listeners. They know when to pause, when to respond, and how to make others feel heard. And that's the real magic. Communication builds connection. Trust grows when people feel understood. And trust is the foundation of careers, relationships, and business. And don't get it twisted, you don't need to be a motivational speaker, influencer, or a politician. You just need to express your thoughts clearly and help people connect with you. That's enough to set you apart from most people who stay silent, obey blindly, and never speak up. So how do you train this? Start small. Practice talking in front of a mirror. Yeah, it feels awkward, but it helps you see your expressions and intonation. Record yourself speaking, listen back, and notice your habits. Practice structuring your stories. Start with the point, then explain why, and wrap it up with a reflection. For example, I quit my job yesterday. Why? Because it was destroying my mental health. Lesson? Don't stay where you're being destroyed. See how simple and clear that is? Also, join small discussions or groups. You don't need to dominate the room, just start participating. Because speaking isn't just about being heard, it's about clarifying yourself to the world. A single conversation can open opportunities, create new relationships, or even change your life. So let me wrap this up. Reading enriches your mind. Writing clears your heart. Speaking creates impact on others. These three things aren't just productivity hacks, they're pathways to becoming a better human being. If this video gave you something to think about, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who might need it. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe so more people can start living their best versions. See you in the next video. Keep upgrading your brain.